Someone asked you recently what you wanted. Maybe it was a friend. Maybe it was a daughter or a son trying to plan something kind. Maybe it was a form at a doctor's office, or a quiet moment alone when the question just floated up from somewhere you had forgotten to guard. What do you want? And you hesitated. Not because you did not understand the question, but because you genuinely did not know how to answer it anymore. Because somewhere along the way, not in one dramatic moment, but across hundreds of small, quiet ones, you stopped letting yourself want things. You see something beautiful, a place you have never been, a class someone mentioned, a small dream that flickers for just a moment behind your eyes, and before it even finishes forming, something inside you reaches up and gently closes the door. Not now, not at this age. That is for someone else, someone younger, someone with more time, someone who still has the right to reach. And you have done this so many times that it no longer feels like a decision. It feels like who you are, a person who does not want things, a person who has learned to need less, expect less, ask for less. And you call this wisdom. You call this acceptance. You call this being at peace. But here is what I want you to hear today, gently, because it matters more than you might think. That is not peace, that is something else, something quieter and more costly. That is a person slowly stepping out of their own life and calling the leaving graceful. Buddhism has something to say about this, something that may surprise you. Because the Buddha did not teach what most people think he taught about desire. He did not say stop wanting. He said something far more precise, far more generous, and far more alive. And today, through 7 teachings, you are going to hear what he actually said. Not the version that has been simplified and flattened, the real one, the one that has space for you in it. Stay until teaching number 5. What you hear there may give you something you have been quietly refusing to let yourself have for a very long time. Before we begin, if this channel has become a place you return to, consider subscribing and turning on the bell. Not for me, for the you who might need these words again on a harder day. These words were written slowly, with great care for anyone who has spent a lifetime giving, and is only now beginning to learn what it means to want something for themselves again. I hope they find you gently. Now, breathe, and let these words find you. There is a reason you stopped allowing yourself to want things, and it is not because you grew wiser. It is not because you finally matured past the need for desire. It is because you were taught slowly, deeply, by 1,000 invisible lessons that wanting something for yourself was selfish, that good people sacrifice, that your worth was measured not by what you carried inside, but by how much of yourself you gave away. You learned this as a child. You practiced it for decades. You raised families on it, built careers on it, held marriages together with it. And after a lifetime of living for others, for children who needed you, for parents who depended on you, for work that demanded everything, the muscle that once knew how to want something purely for yourself simply stopped working. Not because it is gone, because no one has asked it to move in a very long time. And then the roles shifted. The children left, the career ended or slowed, the house grew quiet, and you might think that this would be the moment a person finally turns inward, finally asks, what do I want now that the giving is done? But that is not what happens for most people. What happens is the opposite. Without the roles that defined you, without the duties that filled your hours, without the constant proof that you were needed, the silence does not feel like freedom. It feels like erasure. And instead of stepping into that open space, Many people step back from it. They make themselves smaller, quieter, as if without a role to justify their presence, they no longer have the right to take up room even in their own life. But the Buddha saw something in desire that most of us have been taught to fear. He did not say stop wanting. He said, learn the difference between a flame that warms and a fire that consumes. And today you are going to learn that difference. Most people misunderstand Buddhism on this point, and the misunderstanding has cost them something precious. They hear the word detachment, and they think it means do not care. They hear let go, and they think it means want nothing. They hear the teachings on suffering and desire, and they build a picture of a spiritual life that is flat and grey and empty of longing. A life where the highest achievement is to sit very still and need nothing at all. But that is not what the Buddha taught, not even close. The Buddha made a careful, precise distinction that most translations blur. He spoke of two very different kinds of wanting. The first, the one he warned against, is that desperate, white-knuckled clinging that says, I must have this or I cannot survive. The wanting that becomes a cage. The desire that convinces you that your entire worth, your entire peace, depends on one specific outcome. That is the wanting that leads to suffering. Not because the thing desired is wrong, but because the grip is so tight that it crushes whatever it holds and crushes you with it. But the second kind of wanting, the kind the Buddha actually encouraged, is something else entirely. It is the gentle reaching towards something that matters. The aspiration that rises not from emptiness or fear, but from a place of fullness, from aliveness. A person who wants to learn to play the piano at 75, not to perform, not to prove anything to anyone, but simply because the sound of those notes makes something inside them feel lighter. That person is not grasping. That person is breathing. That person is choosing to stay present in a life that still has texture, still has color, still has room. The problem was never wanting. The problem was always the way we wanted. The choking grip instead of the open hand. The demand instead of the invitation. You have spent so long believing that the path to peace was to stop reaching for things. But the Buddha did not ask you to become someone who wants nothing. He asked you to become someone who is no longer destroyed by wanting. There is a world of difference between those two things, and that difference is where you are going to live from now on. There is a cost to shutting down desire, and it is not the cost most people expect. When you stop wanting, you do not arrive at peace. You arrive somewhere else, a place that looks like peace from the outside but feels like nothing from the inside. A slow, quiet narrowing. The days begin to look the same, not because they are simple, simplicity can be rich, but because nothing is pulling you forward. Nothing makes your eyes brighten when you think of it. Nothing wakes you in the morning with that small hum of anticipation, the feeling that today holds something worth leaning into. You tell yourself this is contentment. You tell yourself this is finally being at peace with what is. But sit with the truth of it for a moment. Really sit with it. When did you last wake up and feel a small pull towards something? Not a duty, not an obligation, but something that was purely, simply yours. When did you last say to yourself, I would love to try that, and then actually let yourself mean it? When did something catch your eye? A book, a place, a skill, a conversation, and instead of reaching toward it, you turned away before you even finished the thought. And when you turned away, what did you tell yourself? That it was too late? That it was foolish? That wanting was for people with more time, more right, more future than you? Buddhism teaches something that might surprise you here. There is a quality called piti, a word that means something close to joy, to vitality, to the quiet aliveness that hums underneath a life being fully lived. And the Buddha did not treat this quality as a luxury. He did not treat it as something that belonged only to the young or the unburdened. He named it as essential, a necessary ingredient on the path toward awakening itself. Not something you earn after you have suffered enough. Something you need in order to be fully here at all. And when you understand what piti actually looks like in a person's life, you begin to see its absence everywhere. A person with this quality alive inside them does not move through the day faster or louder. They move through it more fully. There is a warmth behind their eyes that has nothing to do with what is happening around them and everything to do with what is happening within them. They notice things, the weight of the cup in their hand, the particular blue of the sky on a Tuesday afternoon, the way a grandchild laughs with their whole body. They are not performing happiness. They are simply present, engaged, interested in being alive. And a person in whom this quality has gone quiet, you can feel that too, even if you cannot name it. There is a flatness, a going through the motions quality that is not sadness exactly, but something more subtle, a kind of internal dimming, like a lamp that is still on but turned so low it barely lights the room it sits in. The body is here. The person, in some essential way, has stepped back from their own doorway. You can feel the difference right now, just sitting where you are. There is a difference between a morning where something small, even something tiny, is waiting for you, and a morning where nothing is. Not because the day without wanting is bad, but because the day with even the smallest thread of desire in it is alive in a way the other simply is not. Joy is not a reward for people who have finished their work. Joy is the evidence that someone is still choosing to be alive inside their own life. And when that goes quiet, when the wanting stops and the reaching stops and the small excitements stop, what remains is not wisdom, it is not acceptance, it is absence. A life without wanting is not a peaceful life. It is a life that has quietly begun to leave itself. There is a simple image that can change everything about the way you understand desire. And once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it. Imagine you are holding a seed in the palm of your hand. If you close your fist tight, protective, controlled, you can keep the seed. You can hold it safe. Nothing can take it from you. But inside that fist, the seed cannot breathe. It cannot find soil. It cannot stretch toward light. It cannot become what it was made to become. Your grip does not protect it. Your grip prevents it. Now, imagine you open your hand, slowly, palm to the sky. The seed is exposed. The wind could take it. It could roll off and fall. You have no guarantee it will land where you want it to land, or grow the way you want it to grow. You have given up control, but now the seed can breathe. Now it can find earth. Now it can send down roots and push upward into light and become the thing that a clenched fist would never, ever have allowed. This is the difference the Buddha was pointing to. Not between wanting and not wanting, between clenched wanting and open wanting, between the grip that suffocates and the palm that receives. Most of us were taught to want with closed fists. I want this, and I must have it. And if it does not come exactly the way I need it to come, I will be destroyed. That is not desire. That is desperation. And it squeezes the life out of everything it touches, including you. But there is another way. You can want something with your whole heart and still hold it with open hands. You can say, I want this. I will walk toward it, and I will not let the fact that it may not arrive exactly the way I imagined break me apart. You can care deeply without clenching. You can reach without grasping. You can desire without being consumed. This is what Buddhism actually invites. Not the death of wanting, the maturation of it. And it applies to everything. To the relationships you hope for, to the health you wish for, to the small, private dreams you have been holding so tightly or refusing to hold at all because you were afraid of what it would mean if they did not come true. Open your hands, let the seed breathe, and notice what this looks like in a single, ordinary moment. You are standing in a bookshop, or scrolling past an announcement for a class, or hearing someone describe a place they visited. And you feel it, that small, stirring, that flicker of, I would love that. And right behind it, as always, the hand reaching to close the door. Not for you, too late, too silly. But this time, you pause. You do not grab the want and clutch it to your chest. You do not build a plan around it or demand that it happen. You simply let it sit there, open, breathing. You say to yourself quietly, that sounds lovely. I am going to let myself feel this. And then you keep walking, not away from the wanting through it, gently, with open hands. That is enough. That small pause, that small permission, is the entire practice. You can want something completely and hold it lightly. These are not opposites. They are, in fact, the only way wanting ever leads somewhere worth going. There is a story from the Buddhist tradition that I want you to hear. Not quickly, slowly. The way stories are meant to be received. An old woman, 72 years old, lived alone in a small house at the edge of a village. Her husband had died years before. Her children had married and moved to other places, as children do. They visited when they could. She understood. She did not blame anyone for the quiet. Each morning, she woke and did what needed doing. She swept the floor. She boiled water. She moved through the hours the way water moves through a familiar channel, without thought, without resistance, without any particular destination. In the afternoons, she sat by the window and looked out at a road that rarely brought anyone she knew. One afternoon, a young monk walked past her house. He was traveling between monasteries and was thirsty. She saw him and called out, offering water. He thanked her and sat on the step while she went inside to fill a cup. She poured the water from an old ceramic jar, wide-mouthed, beautifully shaped. Its glaze crackled with age. The kind of jar that looked like it had once been made for something finer than plain water. The monk took the cup and drank. Then he looked at the jar for a moment and said, "That is a festival jar, is it not? I have seen them in villages to the south. They were made for carrying flower wine during the harvest celebrations." The old woman nodded slowly. "You have a good eye." "Yes, it was made for that. Do you still use it for flower wine?" She was quiet. Then she said, simply, "The festival days are long past. Now it holds water. Just water." The monk looked at her not with pity, not with judgment, but with a kind of steady gentleness. And after a moment, he said, "Forgive me, but I do not think the jar knows the festival days are over. A jar does not remember what it used to hold. It only knows whether it is full or empty right now. And an empty jar, no matter what it once carried, can still be filled again. With anything you choose." The old woman did not respond right away. She sat with the jar in her hands, turning it slowly, looking at the cracks in the glaze as though seeing them for the first time. And then, Quietly, so quietly, the monk almost did not hear, she asked herself a question she had not asked in years. What do I want to fill this with now? Silence. Sit with that for a moment. Really sit with it. Because that question, the one the old woman asked while holding a cracked jar in an empty house on an ordinary afternoon, is one of the most important questions a human being can ask. You are not an expired version of yourself. You are not someone whose time has passed. You are a vessel that has carried a great deal: love, duty, sacrifice, worry, decades of giving, and much of it has been poured out. You are lighter now, emptier in some places. And that emptiness is not a sign that your story is ending. It is space. It is room. It is the quiet opening that happens before something new begins. The question is not whether it is too late. The question is, what do you want to fill this with now? You are not an empty jar waiting to be put away. You are an empty jar asking to be filled. And that question, at any age, is one of the most alive questions a person can ask. Here is what I want to say to you now, directly, without metaphor, without parable, without anything standing between my words and your heart. You are allowed to want things. I know that sounds simple. I know it sounds like something that should not need to be said, but I also know, because I have heard it from so many people who listen to these words, that for some of you, no one has said this to you in a very long time, and for some of you, no one has ever said it at all. You do not need to earn the right to want something. You do not need to be younger. You do not need to be healthier. You do not need to have fewer burdens, less history, or more years ahead of you. You do not need to wait until everyone else is taken care of. You do not need to justify it to your children, your siblings, your friends, or the voice inside your own head that has been whispering for years that good people do not ask for things. I know the guilt. I know exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like, how can I want something for myself when others are struggling more than I am? It sounds like I am too old to be hoping for things. It is embarrassing. It sounds like I would rather not want anything than want something and be disappointed again. It sounds like desire is a young person's right, and I have used up mine. Every one of those thoughts is a lie. A lie you were taught so slowly and so gently that it felt like your own wisdom. But it is not your wisdom. It is your conditioning. And today you can set it down. Buddhism teaches that metta, loving kindness, begins with yourself. Not because you are perfect. Not because you have earned it. Not because you deserve it more than anyone else. But because you are a living being who is here, right now, breathing, and that alone is enough. That has always been enough. The practice is simple, and I want you to try it today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Let yourself want one thing. It does not have to be large. It does not have to be dramatic. It does not need to change your life. It just needs to be real. It just needs to be yours. Maybe it is a walk you have been putting off. Maybe it is a letter you have wanted to write. Maybe it is a conversation you have been circling. Maybe it is something you cannot even name yet, just a warmth in your chest when you think about it. Whatever it is, do not push it away. Sit with it. Let it stay. Put your hand over your heart, if that feels right, and say to yourself silently or out loud, "It does not matter, this matters to me." And that is enough. Do not wait for someone else to grant you permission. No one else can do that for you at this point in your life. No one else should. The permission you need is not out there somewhere, waiting to arrive in someone else's voice. Permission is not something anyone else can give you at this point in your life. It is something you give yourself quietly, without ceremony, simply by deciding that what you feel still matters. Not every desire needs to be a grand dream. And this is something people miss more often than you might think. We live in a world that has taught us to think in terms of big goals, big plans, big transformations, as if the only desires worth pursuing are the ones that change everything, as if wanting something small is the same as living small, as if a quiet wish does not count, because it does not come with a 5-year plan and a finish line. But Buddhism understands something that this kind of thinking will never grasp. The small wants, the ones that barely register, the ones you dismiss before they even fully form, are not lesser. They are often the truest things about you. They are the places where your life is still speaking, still reaching, still asking to be met. Think about this. Wanting to learn the name of the flower you pass every morning on your walk. The one with the deep purple petals that you have admired for years but never once looked up. It has been blooming for you and you have never learned its name. Wanting to finally read the book that has been sitting on your shelf for a decade. Not because someone told you to. Not because it will teach you something useful, but because something about the cover or the title or the way it ended up in your hands all those years ago still makes you curious. Wanting to write a letter to someone you have not spoken to in a long time. Not because anything important happened, but because you thought of them last Tuesday and the thought was warm and you realized you missed them. Wanting to sit in your garden in the early morning and do absolutely nothing. No book, no phone, no task. Just sit, just breathe, and call that valuable, call that worthy of your time. Wanting to try cooking something new, not because you need to, just because you saw a recipe and something about it made you smile. Notice what all of these have in common. None of them require anyone's approval. None of them need to be justified. None of them have a deadline or a scorecard or a measurable outcome. And none of them are about accomplishment. They are about contact, about touching your own life and feeling it touch you back. They are the small ways a person says, I am still here, I am still interested, I am still reaching, even if no one is watching, even if no one will ever know. That is what makes them so important. Not their size, their honesty. And so, here is something you can try. This week, not someday, not when you feel ready, but this week choose one small want and honor it, fully. Without apology. It can be as quiet as taking a different route on your morning walk because you want to see what is blooming on that other street. It can be as simple as stopping at a bookshop and picking up the first book that draws your hand, with no reason other than it called to you. It can be sitting down with a cup of tea and writing a list just for yourself, just in pencil, just on the back of an envelope of things you would love to do. Not things you should do, things you want to do. You do not need to act on all of them. You do not even need to act on any of them right away. The practice is not about accomplishing. The practice is about admitting, about letting the wanting exist without rushing to judge it or dismiss it or explain it away. Let it sit on the page. Let it breathe. That is already more than you have given it in a very long time. Each of these wants is a thread connecting you to your life. Not the life you are managing, not the life you are maintaining for others, but the one that is yours. The inner one, the one that still has a pulse if you will only stop long enough to feel it. Buddhism teaches that every moment of genuine presence, every moment where you are truly here, truly engaged, truly wanting to be exactly where you are, is a moment of awakening. Not the dramatic kind, the quiet kind, the kind that happens when someone finally stops performing their life and starts actually living it. A small want, honored completely, is not a small life. It is a full one. There is a word that people become afraid of at a certain age. The word is hope, as if hope is something that belongs to the young, as if hoping is what people do before they know how the world really works. As if anyone who has lived long enough to see real disappointment, real loss, real failure, should have outgrown hope by now, the way you outgrow shoes or fairy tales, or believing that things will always turn out right. And so people stop hoping. Not all at once. The way they stop wanting gradually, quietly, one small withdrawal at a time. They replace hope with something they call realism. They call it being practical. They call it protecting themselves. And what they are really doing is building a wall between themselves and the possibility that something good might still happen. Because if they do not hope, they cannot be let down. If they do not reach, they cannot fall. But here is what Buddhism understands about hope that cynicism never will. Hope is not naivety. Hope is not denial. Hope is not the foolish belief that everything will be fine. Hope, real hope, mature hope, the hope that belongs to people who have seen the full weight of life and still choose to remain open, is one of the bravest things a person can carry. Cynicism feels like armor, but it is not. It does not protect you from pain. It only protects you from joy. It does not make you stronger. It makes you smaller. It does not save you from disappointment. It just ensures that you are disappointed in advance, all the time, about everything. Buddhism speaks of a quality called equanimity, the ability to remain balanced, steady, open, even when things do not go the way you want them to go. And equanimity is not the absence of caring. It is the deepest form of caring, caring so fully that you do not need a specific outcome to justify your openness. Caring enough to stay present regardless. This is what mature hope looks like. Not the fragile hope that shatters at the first sign of difficulty, but a hope that has been tested, that has been broken and rebuilt, that knows the world can be hard, and still believes not blindly, not desperately, but quietly, steadily that there is something in this life still worth leaning toward. A person who has stopped hoping is safe from disappointment, but they are also safe from the morning that might have held something beautiful, safe from the friendship that might still be forming, safe from the version of their life that has not happened yet and might still. A person who hopes gently, without grasping, with open hands, lives in a world that is still larger than what they have already seen. A world that can still surprise them. A world that still has room. And the practice of this kind of hope is simpler than you think. Tomorrow morning, before the day fills itself with routine, pause for one moment and ask yourself, what am I looking forward to? It does not need to be anything large. A phone call, a walk, the way the light comes through your kitchen window at a certain hour. Let yourself notice that there is something ahead of you, even something small that you are glad is coming. That noticing is hope, quiet, unhurried, real. Hope, held lightly, is not a young person's luxury. It is an ancient person's wisdom, the understanding that as long as there is breath, there is the possibility of something still worth breathing for. Today you have walked through 7 teachings, not as a student, not as someone being fixed, but as someone remembering what they already, somewhere, knew. You remembered that the Buddha never asked you to stop wanting, only to stop being destroyed by it. You saw what happens to a person when the wanting goes quiet, not peace, but absence. You held the image of open hands and closed fists and understood, perhaps for the first time, that you can want something completely without gripping it until it breaks. You sat with the old woman and her empty jar and heard her ask the question that might also be yours. What do I want to fill this with now? You received permission not from me, not from any teacher, but from the part of yourself that has been waiting for you to listen. You remembered that small wants are not small things, and you understood that hope, carried gently, is not foolish. It is how the living keep choosing to live. And I know that some of you heard all of this and still feel the pull to step back, to say yes, but not me, not yet, not at my age, to read the words and believe them for someone else but not quite for yourself. That voice is old and practiced and very convincing. But it is not wise. It is only afraid. And you have listened to it long enough. There is only one thing left now. Today, not tomorrow, not when things are quieter, not when everyone else is settled. Let yourself want something, anything. It does not matter how small. It only matters that it is real, that it is yours, that you do not explain it away or apologize for it or talk yourself out of it before it has a chance to breathe. Put your hand on your heart if you need to and say, "This matters to me," and that is enough. If these words reached something inside you today, I would love to hear from you. Tell me, what is one thing you have been quietly wanting but have not yet allowed yourself to reach for? Write it in the comments. Saying it out loud, even in writing, is the first step toward meaning it. And what you share may be the exact words someone else needs to read today. If this channel has become a place you return to when the world feels too loud, subscribe. This quiet space will be here whenever you need it. And carry this with you when you leave. You were not made to want nothing. You were made to want gently, wisely, with hands open enough to actually receive. Go and want something today. The world is not too full for what you still carry inside you.